speed race, CB speed race, hop in the range, take off into space.
Hey guys, it's cbgray coming to you guys live with another Destiny video. How are you guys doing today? So in today's video, we're just going to make a quick help video talking about the Solstice. I just want to break it down, make sure it's easy and make sure it's understandable, so ultimately over these next couple weeks, you understand exactly what you're doing and the best strategies on what to do, what you're doing. So that's really what we're going to go ahead and do. Let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's keep it simple, let's keep it brief, and let's just dive right in. If this is helpful, hit the like button. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. We love to have your beautiful faces. Your faces are beautiful. Let's go ahead and do this. So when you get into the tower, whenever you start your grind, you're going to notice that obviously the tower is different. There's Eva Levante. You're going to talk to her, and ultimately as you talk to her, you're going to pick up your first piece of gear that is this blue helmet right here, where after that she's going to tell you to go to the EAZ, which is a event on the EDZ, which you can spawn from up top here. If you noticed on your map, you have an European aerial zone at the top of your map. What you're going to end up doing is you're going to kick off the quest right here by clicking the start mission, and that's going to kick you off. The EAZ is a kind of horde-like activity on the EDZ where you're going to be killing a lot of fallen enemies, and there's also going to be mini bosses that you're going to be killing and items that you're ultimately going to be getting. And so those items might be a little confusing, but let's go ahead and talk about it real quick. So once you do finish your first EAZ, just fast forward to when you do finish it, you're going to get the rest of your Solstice set, which is going to be the rest of these armor pieces. So if you run through one EAZ, even if you don't quite understand what you're doing yet, just know that when you finish the first one, you're going to get your full set of armor, and we're going to go ahead and explain how the EAZ works here in a second. But what you're going to also notice here too is after you do get your set, there's going to be bounties that you can pick up from Eva Levante. You're going to have 2 weeklies that both can drop 5 Solstice key fragments. Pay attention to those. Then you also have a bunch of daily bounties that can drop 5 Solstice key fragments, as you noticed. Then lastly, you'll have additional bounties that can drop Solstice key fragments. These Solstice key fragments are going to be important because when you're in the EAZ, there's going to be an item that you're going to be getting called Solstice packages. Now these are pretty cool because these can give you armor pieces that are randomly rolled when you open up a package. Now how do you open up a package? As you can see, if you look, it says Solstice key fragments, 15 to open up. So you need 15 fragments to open up each package. Now I'm going to give you some advice. The way that this works is if you notice when you're opening these up early, you're probably like, man, this gear isn't that great. For me personally, I'm going to be waiting until I get a majestic set of armor, which is actually when I get the purple version of this armor set and when I finish it up, because once I finish it, you're actually going to be able to get randomly rolled Solstice gear out of those packages. So I'm actually going to be saving the packages until I am finished with my armor sets, and we'll explain how to finish the armor sets in a second, but just know that ultimately you can get key fragments from the bounties, you can get boxes from the EAZ, which I'm going to explain here in just a second, and then lastly you turn in Solstice key fragments to turn in packages. So that's how that portion works, and so that's why I'm saving them. That's at least my reasoning. Some people are opening these up the second they get enough key fragments. That's not personally what I'm going to be doing, just so you can know. Now let's take a look at the armor real quick. So the armor starts off at blue. As you notice, these are blue armor pieces. Usually years before in the Solstice, it started off as green. Now it's starting off as blue, so it's kind of alleviating the grind a little bit. So each armor piece is going to have a set of requirements that you're going to have to get done in order to upgrade it from blue to the next level, which will be purple in this case scenario. So as you can see, the blue, it says EAZ run completed, precision final blows, hive defeated. So you need to finish these 3 objectives on the helmet. Now one of the most common questions I get is, do I need to have this armor on to upgrade it? Now yes and no. So if I want the blue armor piece on, I don't need to have the full set on. I need to just have the helmet on. If I want to update the helmet, I just need to have on the helmet. If I want to have the arm pieces updated, I need to have the arm pieces on. So it's not like you need the whole set to upgrade one piece, but you do need to have the one piece on that you're trying to upgrade. So that's what you need to know on that. So know that if I'm trying to get the helmet done, you better have the helmet on. Now that doesn't mean you need to have the rest on, but I like having it all on so I can kind of be doing them all in parallel. But that's just me. So now let's kind of talk about the EAZ real quick. So we'll come back here in just a second. Alright, now time to talk about a little bit more on gear. So as you can see, as I mentioned, you're going to do these different upgrades in order to move your gear from blue to purple, obviously. So that's pretty straightforward. One of the things that might not be straightforward is what do we need to do for these orbs? Like, I need strike orbs? Like, why do I need orbs that are solar? How do I get solar orbs? Or with the boots, how do I get orbs that are void in the Crucible or Gambit? Or on some of these other requirements you might look at, it's any elemental orbs for any activity, you might just look at these and be like, well, what are elemental orbs and what are those all about? So elemental orbs are pretty cool in the Solstice, where actually when you're killing different killing different enemies with different burns, whether it's your weapons or your subclass abilities like grenades or supers, you'll have orbs drop. So in every single day, you'll have an empowerment that's either solar, arc, or void within the EAZ, which is pretty cool. And what happens with that, and this also can happen as well in the Crucible as well, and strikes. But when you go in, and let me show this real quick. Let me go find some enemies to kill very quickly. If I was to go kill an enemy, watch this. He drops a solar orb. So I can go ahead and pick that up. And now I have elemental charge times 9 because I've picked up a few already. But if I pick it up again, notice my charge will go from 9 to 10. And if I kill another one, I go from 10 to 11, obviously, right? If I get to times 30, I'm going to get supercharged like a Super Saiyan. It's going to be pretty cool. And I actually will deal damage to enemies just by standing next to them, which is really cool. So I can gain these orbs with any burn. So this I'm just doing solar right now because it's solar empowerment, and I like collecting 30 so that I can be supercharged. But if I needed to collect arc orbs, I could do the same thing. And I could just go kill an enemy. And look at that, an arc orb. Now when I pick it up, notice that I picked it up and I didn't go to elemental charge times 12 though. That's because I'm not grabbing the correct burn. So it's not going to go up because I'm not grabbing solar orbs. So if you do want to take advantage of your empowerments for extra damage when doing this activity, you are going to want to use the correct burn that's on your Guardian. But as you can see, you can grab orbs from any type of enemy, just depending on what burn you're using. So now what in the world is the EAZ? So it's an activity where all around this map, there's going to be different mini bosses that can spawn, and the map sometimes will help you. As you can see, it kind of did with me over here. And what you can do is just sparrow around. That's pretty cool. You can sparrow around the map, but you can just sparrow to any of these locations that you see the map kind of leading us towards. And when you go towards them, there's going to be a mini boss that spawns. And as you can see, it says targets neutralized. And I shouldn't have started these directions so late into this run, but all you do is find them like I just did here. And then you can kill one. And when you kill them, as you can see, we neutralized another target, and it went from 5 to 6. So all around the map, you're going to be looking for targets to neutralize. You're going to have a certain amount of time to neutralize as many as you can. After that happens, there's going to be a new target objective, which is going to be to kill basically either 1 or 2 mini bosses at some point of the map. So as you can see, it says targets neutralized, and you eliminate a boss. So we're going to go eliminate this gigantic boss here every single time after you start the encounter and you're looking for the little mini bosses to kill. After the time runs out, there will be a big boss to kill. So I'm going to fast forward this real quick and kill the mini boss. Alright, and as he's about to die here, as you can see, he drops a bunch of orbs because I killed him with solar. I grab a bunch of orbs, which is awesome. And it'll progress some of my different obligations for the different gear if I need to. As you can see, I got a Solstice package that I was talking about earlier. And what you're going to notice here in a second is there's going to be a bunch of chests that are going to spawn all across the map. It's going to show us where they all are here in just a second. You can take a screenshot of your screen if you need to. Sometimes that can help people out. But essentially after that, you're going to have a minute 40 to go and collect as many of these chests as possible, which will give you more packages and more fragments. And luckily, if any person on your team picks up one of these chests, you'll all get credit for them. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one right here. Hopefully I don't fall off the map. As you can see, for this one I got another Solstice package. So I believe there was another one off in this direction. You end up with a minute 13 left. I got a minute 13 left. Let me see if I can find one. You can see my teammates opened up a chest. They got 2 key fragments for that. So as you can see, the EAZ is also a pretty cool place of being able to get some fragments and packages, but the main source that the EAZ is going to be giving you is packages. So you're going to be grinding this out for packages. I don't recommend grinding this for fragments. For fragments, I'd actually highly recommend either doing Crucible, Strikes, or Public Events. Honestly, Public Events will give you 15 fragments, where Crucible will give you 15, and then as well as Strikes, which gave me 18. Which was also pretty cool. You could also do Gambit for about 15, but I don't know if you want to do Gambit. So, yeah, but that's kind of how this activity works. So to wrap everything up into a bow, You talk to Eva Levante, you get your gear. You upgrade your gear from blue to purple to ultimately masterworking it, where then you can put your glows on it, which is pretty cool. The EAZ is going to be an activity where you can go in and get key fragments and Solstice packages. Now the cool thing about the Solstice packages is you can get random rolled gear. Now that random rolled gear isn't great until ultimately you're able to finish your Majestic's armor set, where then the Solstice armor can drop out of the Majestic pack, or it can drop out of the Solstice packages. So what you kind of want to do, as I mentioned, was kind of wait on opening things until you upgrade all this gear. But that's completely up to you. If you want to open it up early, you can. But I'm going to be waiting on mine. So I'm going to wait until all these are upgraded fully. And then after that, I can turn in these packages for 15 key fragments apiece. And get really good random rolled gear. You can get the key fragments from the EAZ, from your daily weeklies, and also the extra bounties you can get from Eva Levante, as I showed earlier. So as you can see, like I got 5 from doing that bounty right there, so I can get 5 from each of those. If you do all of your characters, you can get a ton of them from your bounties. You can also get them from Gambit Strikes, Crucible, and public events. I was enjoying Strikes because I was running through the Heroic playlist and getting 18 a pop, which is pretty cool. You can check the requirements for each upgrade on your gear by just going into the gear and then reading up on the top if you need to. So that'll help you with that. When you're in the EAZ and doing the different activities within the game, you're going to notice the solar empowerment either be solar, void, or arc. So pay attention to that so you can tailor your guns that you use and your ability you use to this so that you can supercharge, which is pretty cool. And then lastly, when you're running around the map in the EAZ, if you ever see a gold crystal, make sure to shoot it. It'll give you some extra orbs as well that you can pick up. Outside of that, guys, that's really it. So that's how you're going to be upgrading all of your stuff. So key fragments are really going to be for getting cool gear later. And in terms of upgrading your armor now, I would just dive in and just do all of the different requirements that it asks for. And make sure when you're doing like strikes, you have solar weapons on if your requirement is solar. But check your requirements and make sure you do your requirements. So that's really it for the Solstice. That's how it's going to go. And then, yeah, turn in your Bright Dust to go grab you a Micro Mini if you don't have one already, because that's in stock. So make sure to grab that. But yeah, guys, hopefully this was helpful. If it was, make sure to hit the like button. I love you guys so, so much. You guys the absolute best. I love you. 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 And I am going to talk to you guys very, very, very soon. Love you guys.